I just get back from Italy, and that's what you're going to throw at me. How
I'm
do
gonna
you
I'm gonna
feel?
throw I'm gonna
How do
throw
you feel? How do you feel about the Brooklyn Nets putting the Heat right back where they belong in the?
honestly, the Heat have just lost it for themselves, so I can live with that. But you're like very bold, adamant take that the
You don't
the Phoenix Suns were going to be so bad as a
know
result of
because
this
you don't
trade,
remember because I wasn't tracking the Phoenix Suns. I was thinking that Cam Johnson was
bro. But
actually
you
an
were
integral part of the
so
rotation.
adamant. It's fine. It's fine.
I say this every week. I say this every week that it was just an upgrade from Durant to from Mikal Bridges. I recanted.
Sure, sure. I digress, though. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, the Bitcoin Ballers, for another episode 7. We are breaking down the final week of the NBA season. Some teams have 2 games left, some teams only have one.
Mm.
We're going to dive into some of these early matchups that we're anticipating. And then, of course, we're going to give you our unsolicited NBA 2022-2023 awards recipients and all NBA teams and all defensive teams as well. But let's dive right on into it. We'll start. You alluded to them. This is the only uh playoff race in the East, seeding wise, that is up for grabs at this point, and that is the 6-7 seed, current 6 seed outside of the play-in tournament, Brooklyn Nets, and then the Miami Heat just on the other side, 1 game back. Both teams have 2 games remaining, so look, anything can happen. I think the Heat had this, and then they fumbled the bag. Um, I know your pick was always that the Nets hold on to this. The Nets are playing tonight. As of the time of recording, they're up on the Magic. The Heat are playing Washington, and they're just down 2 at the half. So we'll see. Maybe by the time this is done, we'll get an answer there. Um, I hold steady. At this point, especially whoever's in that 6 seed with a game ahead, it's in your hands, like win and you're in kind of a situation. So if the Nets can do their job, I can see them holding on. I don't know off the top of my head who has the tiebreaker there, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either, and they both play Orlando in each in the last 2 games. I would say that from a strength of schedule, I would think the tie goes to Miami because they play Washington and Orlando. The Brooklyn Nets have to face off Philadelphia. When you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, though, now you have to wonder for the last game of the season, do they rest their players? And when you look at, if you look at, I don't know what you look at their schedule, they play
they,
Atlanta right now.
they're a game and a half up on Cleveland, and Cleveland only has 1 game left. So Cleveland can't even catch them. There is no reason you need to play any of these players for the final 2 games. I'm sorry. Like I hate load management. I am so anti load management. If Kobe plays every game with a broken finger, if MJ shows up every night and balls out, the prima donnas in today's NBA can stand to do the same. However, I get it from the aspect of like nothing would be more heartbreaking than to see Joel Embiid on the final game of the season come down with something that prevents him from playing in the playoffs, or like rest in peace, even though I think he's on the Knicks this season, Derrick Rose getting injured in the first round. Like
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the most heartbreaking things to see happen. So of course we don't want to see it, but I can understand from a player personnel standpoint why they'd load manage, and I understand that, but I see no reason as to why these guys would be playing.
And I think because of that, I think when you look at the Lakers, for instance, and we're not going to go to the West, but when they lost against the Clippers, I don't believe LeBron is playing this next game, either tonight or tomorrow, because it was a back-to-back dynamic. I just feel like teams with this play-in thing that they've been doing the last few years. I feel that if you're in the 7th or 8th seed. I feel you basically play 2 to win 1. I think teams that are in that position, they're confident enough to say, you know what, rather than go extremely hard against, that team in the last game of a regular season, let's just prepare, let's just get our bearings for this one game that we have to win. Rather than playing a game that's like, maybe not have to win. So yeah, I think that the playoffs are going to stay locked in as they are, at least in the East. There's not going to be any flip between the Nets and the Heat, and we're just gonna let the chips fall where they may in the play-ins.
Let's do this. Let's break down or discuss a quick little scenario where it's Hawks Heat, who wins that matchup, and then who would win the matchup Nets Hawks for
Yeah.
that first play-in game.
So we'll talk about this with the awards, but I'm very high on the Miami Heat as a 7 seed, and just dominating that playoff, that play-in tournament. So I think that Jimmy Butler is a stud. Go ahead.
So we need to clarify. We need to put some respect on their name. The not the Atlantic. Oh my God, what division are they in?
The
Southeast Conference champion Miami Heat.
The Southeast Conference.
Do not misunderstand. They are division champion because they changed the NBA seeding rules. They aren't even in the top 4. They're all the way down in the play-in. But I don't want to get full blown into a playoff scenario yet. I want to come back to talk that first matchup though.
I think Miami's winning their first game easily. What do you think?
And then, do you think? I wholeheartedly agree. I think it would just be kind of disappointing to see a division, or I guess divisional champion keep playing this play-in tournament. Like, it can happen in one game. It gets hot one night. It takes. So it'll be interesting, but I don't think the Heat lose. I do think the Nets lose if they're in the play-in to the Hawks. I think that Trae Young and Trae loves playing in New York.
I could see an upset there. I think that the Nets have a good defensive core. Claxton and Bridges, and not so much Dinwiddie, but those guys, again, also with the everyone's ball mentality, and there's no one star on that team. I do think that they are a solid playoff team that will fight. I don't think that they're excluded from an upset, but I don't think they're not dropping to 7.
Don't forget though that if you, for example, are the 7 seed and then you lose the play spot outright, you lottery. So there is a added benefit for a team that maybe is looking into the future. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I think, to your point, like the Nets, they so it will be interesting to see how that both on the same page about how that's gonna sort of let's pop her to the West, which is a little bit. You have the Nuggets locked in 1 seed at this point, short of something crazy happening, but I think the Grizzlies will be the 2, will be the 3 seed. Suns are locked in at the 4 seed, and then that's where things interesting. The Clippers, although they did beat the Lakers, so the Lakers kind of don't have a chance to pass. Clippers and Warriors are 5 and 6 at 42 and 30. One game behind the Lakers and Pelicans. So happen in that jostling. I don't necessarily. I think my bias will probably come out, but I actually think the Kings are going to win tonight, and then I think the Lakers win tonight, and then we are the 6th seed, and then all of a sudden it's like it's in our hands for the final game of the season. But
Who do you
like
who
of this.
The Clippers play the Clippers play the Kings?
No. The Kings are playing the Warriors tonight,
I'm sorry about
which
that. Oh,
could
okay,
be
okay.
could be a if the Warriors hold on to the 6 seed, like that would be the preview to the 3-6 seed matchup. What's
Oh,
crazy to me is the fact that the Sacramento Kings, not the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors, are the NBA Conference champions or Pacific Division champions.
I think based
Or
on
the-
just the road records that the Warriors have, I think this is a guaranteed loss for the Warriors. So I think the Lakers are still. I don't know if what they hold when it comes down to the tiebreaker of the Warriors, but they're definitely they're not out of the wood. They're not the sixth seed isn't out of the question for the Lakers. And in
yeah,
fact,
but
I think that if they can win one of the next two games, I see them potentially getting. I don't think that who the Warriors play for their second game.
I don't know, but I know that the Lakers play the Suns tonight, and the Suns are sitting everyone because they're locked in the 4 seed.
Yeah,
So I think also LeBron is sitting out though, and it wouldn't surprise me if at that point they just sit AD. But I'm betting on D'Lo and Austin Reeves to get it done. Quite honestly,
Portland keeps on upsetting teams. I see the Trailblazers, especially with a bunch of young guys that want to prove themselves because Lillard is and I'm talking about the Portland playing the Warriors on April 9th. Um I see an opportunity for young players to show what they have against a Warriors team that maybe very cautious about playing their best players in the last game of the season against a meaningless uh, Blazer team. Yeah, it may cost them in the play-ins, but you know, from a low time preference point of view, what's more important? That they just make it into the playoffs and limp in, even if it means playing one game in the play-ins, or do they throw all their guns out, go balls to the wall, and potentially get hurt against a team that has nothing to lose? I think the Lakers have a good shot at the sixth seed, but we have to see who wins the tiebreaker between those two. I can't. I wonder Lakers and Golden State, huh? Golden
although
State lost against the Lakers 3 times. Oh, the Lakers own the tiebreaker.
yeah, no, the Lakers have the tiebreaker, but do they play again? Is that the final game of the season?
The Warriors and the Lakers?
Yeah.
No, no. The Warriors play the Blazers at the end.
Ooh.
And so what I'm saying is that the Blazers have the opportunity to play the upset role, and at the same time, the Blazers have over the last few weeks they've surprised me winning games against. Let me pull them up again. Blazers. They won games they beat the Timberwolves a few days about maybe 5 days ago. They beat the Jazz about 2 weeks ago. And mind you, they're losing more games than they're winning, but it's like they're beating all these teams that are in a must-win situation. And they're the ones that are playing upset. So look for a potential Clippers or Golden State, maybe a win or two here, where these guys who are trying to make a roster next year, trying to make a name for themselves. Again, they're going to go 110%, while these teams that are in the playoffs, their coaches are telling them, don't get hurt. In the NBA, that's the difference. That's the difference between a win and a loss. When you're playing 80% intensity and the other team's playing 120.
Yeah. I mean, like the Lakers play the Jazz too, so it's truly a toss up. What would have been nice, I think, if the Lakers and the Warriors had that final game as a matchup, just winner take all situation would have been lovely, but
That
kind
was
of
that
seems
Clipper game 3 days ago.
I know Russ literally just sat on going off on 3-pointers. Like he has been working on his 3-pointers, circled that game on the calendar when he signed with the Clippers, and just Ah, that was so infuriating.
I have nothing to say about that one, but yeah, that was the game that he came and smoked him. It was like, dang, it's like, what can you say? But even still, the Lakers, the new. I keep on saying this that teams without their star player, it's going to be felt in this run. Ironically, the Pelicans without Zion are 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're just such a good team. Without without
Their
their
best
best
player.
player. So, but it's going to be, they're going to be looking at when the playoffs come around, when that one and done game is coming up, and you're going to see the Lakers full force, the new and improved high defense, high intensity Lakers, and you're going to see the Pelicans with their best player on the bench. That's a mental battle that's already lost, and I don't see the Pelicans surviving a one game series with the Lakers. So it's not a 7 seed for the Lakers. They get to face off against Memphis versus a Sacramento versus if they were a 6 seed, they would face off against the Kings that lead the league in offense. I kind of rather take the Memphis Grizzlies, and maybe
No,
I'm
I'd
low.
rather have
Maybe
Sacramento.
I just don't think the Lakers want to deal with the team that scores 121 points a game.
The
Um,
Lakers have the best defensive rating post the NBA trade deadline as a result of their new roster. Honestly, I actually want to face the number one offense because they're also the number 30 defense in the league.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And this is a young core that's never really played playoff basketball. And sure, talk all you want about LeBron being old, AD being washed, but let me tell you, that experience in the playoffs is going to come handy when you're actually playing 42 minutes a night.
Yeah, and then you look at the Grizzlies, their home record 35-6. I think that is the best in the league. Yeah, maybe that's one of my bad takes. Not as but I just
Told you, bro, you're not a Lakers fan. Like I've been circling the Kings. That's what I want. I want to put Lil Sacramento back in their place. Like the Sacramento Kings, mind you, it is worth noting because I pointed out on the other side of the NBA, the Southeast potential Southeast divisional champion Miami Heat are the 7 seed on the East. The Atlantic Conference with the Celtics and 76ers and Toronto, that and the Pacific Division are the two divisions where all 5 teams are at least in the play-in tournament, if not
Mhm.
the actual playoffs. So those are the two toughest divisions in the NBA. And then on the other side, you got the freaking Southeast division where the two teams that made the playoffs are only in the play-in.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean I wonder how they cut up the schedule with this new divisional format. They probably have each team in their respective division probably playing each other
4 times.
4 times,
No,
maybe
no
even
team plays
five.
more. No team plays each other more than 4 times.
Okay,
And it's typically you do the East Coast. You do the team on the other conference twice,
right.
and then it's
That's
like a
how it's always been.
yeah,
Other conference twice, but what about in your division? Because it used to be that when the divisions were bigger, you play each one of those teams 4 times.
right. And then the
Um,
other division you would play 3 times. But
okay,
I think it rotates. So some years you play one division 4 times and the other division 3 times because
right.
they're three. Um, I believe that's how it goes. But
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to deal with this conference. I mean, yeah, everyone's a playoff team, and maybe guess what? All that means is that when the playoffs come around, that division that strength of schedule gets thrown away, and now it's just like, hey, this is your team. This is the team you face. What are you going to do?
But bro, like think about this: the 3 seed, the 4 seed, the the 3 seed is the Sacramento Kings, the 4 seed is the Phoenix Suns, the five
Mhm.
seed is the LA Clippers, six the Golden State Warriors, and
I know.
seven is the Los Angeles Lakers. You literally have the wall of the Pacific Division. Like that is the toughest conference, toughest division in the NBA, hands down.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you there. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I think again, like we said before, the playoffs started the minute the All-Star game was over, and it's literally going down to the final game for many teams. Dallas is still not out of it yet. Uh, I mean, if we were to look at their schedule, they have two more games left. But I think they're kind of making their bed because no, do they only have one game left? Let me make sure. I forgot. They have two games left. Chicago and San Antonio should be an easy win for one of those opponents. Chicago is not an easy out, but the Chicago game, they're sitting Kyrie Irving and Christian Wood and Josh Green and Tim Hardaway Jr. Do they expect to make the playoffs? What do you think?
I think they're because they don't have the tiebreaker over the Thunder. The Thunder have that tiebreaker, so they're in a really tough spot right now. Like they still need the Thunder. The Thunder only have one more game, but they need the Thunder to actually lose that game for them to even have a shot at making the play-in tournament. Um,
It's the Grizzlies. Hmm.
the Thunder play the Grizzlies.
Yeah. The Grizzlies have no incentive to win that game.
No, although here's
Of
an interesting thing
Sacramento?
to just think about. You know how we always heard about the Grizzlies before all the jaw stuff?
Hmm.
You know who I haven't been hearing anything about anywhere on NBA Twitter or just any real articles surfacing about the team or the player?
Who?
Ja.
So, what's your theory in regards to
The
that?
the NBA has full blown shadow banned Ja Morant in the exact way that players like Carmelo Anthony and Gilbert Arenas like alluded to that they would. They have 100% shadow banned Ja
No,
Morant.
I saw plenty of highlights that were focused on him. It's like, oh, look at this crazy play by Ja Morant. But what do you expect to be discussed?
I feel like he has like left that conversation of like I was consistently hearing about Ja Morant almost every night. He was at one point within the top three of the MVP, and then frankly, like post the incident, then they like took him out of the running, and then they switch Giannis in instead of him. But it was very much Jokic, um, Embiid, and Ja Morant for a better part of the season.
I mean, I'm looking at Ja's numbers since he came back, and it's kind of pedestrian. I mean, 17, 18, 27, 36, and 10. So, I mean, it's
How many minutes is he playing?
24, 19, 20, 30, averaging the high 20s,
So
20,
he's
28
not
minutes.
playing starters minutes.
Yeah, and I know he came off the bench that first game.
Bye. Wow, Ulrich just like bailed on me. That makes me so sad. But I'm still here. And so I guess I'll just keep talking about why more or less the Dallas Mavericks will not make the playoffs. Um, I mean, they're gonna tip off in about 5 minutes. All right, there you are.
Say what?
Way to go, bro. Thanks for ditching me.
Did I go away again? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm connected and everything. I was saying that maybe the Memphis Grizzlies got a call from the NBA and said, "Hey, limit him for the rest of the season. Let him ease back as we ease him back into the news cycle. And then when the playoffs come, we'll let you go and not really hold him. You don't need to hold him back anymore." But when I see him playing 26 minutes, 19 minutes, I'm like, I feel like that was a call from on high.
Wild. That's what I'm saying. They shadow banned him.
Yeah, but an invasive shadow ban. Like that means that they're even telling. I think they're even telling the team, you don't need him. Why even force? Why even play him? So yeah, because shadow ban, the equivalency of shadow ban, you're saying he would be scoring 30 a night and you wouldn't hear about it. But
Yeah, but he's not. He's also not playing 30 minutes a night.
right,
So
right. So his
like
team is shadow. This team
you
is banned.
give him another 10 minutes a night, not even give him another 5 minutes a night,
Yeah,
and he's adding arguably another 3 points a night per game at
yeah,
least. And then
yeah.
if he's feeling it, like, he'll go off for his like 30, 40 point blow ups.
Crazy stuff. So in the month of March, he averaged 32 minutes. In the month of April, I'm sorry, in the month of March, I'm sorry, in the month of March, he averaged 27 minutes a game. In the month of February, he averaged 32. Month of January, he averaged 33. So he's lost out on 15% of his time. That's a big chunk. That's the games played, not counting the games missed. So that's
Right.
interesting.
Right.
I don't know. What else?
All right. Let's start. Do you want to go back to the East Coast or should we stay on the West Coast and start going over some of these matchups?
How many times are we going to see Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, Cleveland? I just feel like all of those teams are locked, and they're probably and the favorites are kind of
Well,
have their position.
no. Just
Okay,
answer East West. You're doing too much.
what you talking about? East West.
Pick. Do you want to go east? Do you want to start in the Eastern Conference? Or do you want to start in the Western Conference for playoff matchups? I'm gonna go pick an order.
Let's start East.
All right. So we're gonna start with the play-in tournament. And I want to start as we have already established sort of the Hawks matchups. Do you want to dive a little deeper into this, or could we move on to
Let's
the
move on.
9-10? All
Yeah,
right.
let's move on.
So let's go to the 9-10 matchup. You got the Toronto Raptors will be hosting the Chicago Bulls.
Hmm.
Say what you want about this Chicago team, hurting that Lonzo Ball is not there, but they've been balling out all year. This Chicago team, though, is like the little engine that does not stop. OG, I'm going to mispronounce his name, but OG is leading the league in steals. Going to be up there, first team all defensive team. Oops, I let that one slip out. But at the same time, I don't think him and Fred VanVleet are going to have enough of an answer for Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, and I actually think that the Bulls will get out of this one. I don't know if you think the Bulls even have a shot, since you thought that the Washington Wizards were going to hold on to this playoff spot.
Gosh, you really go really, really far back.
I'll never let you live these things down.
But it's funny because I let you live down the Miami Heat are coming for the Brooklyn Nets, and
Dude, they're gonna. It's not dead. Like it's literally the only remaining potential scenario of shift in the playoff
look,
brackets.
I'm trying to. I look at these injury reports, and I don't know if they're just resting their players to go hard in this play-in tournament. But I kind of trust the playoff experience of the Raptors in this one. They have Van Vliet, Anunoby, and Siakam. Scotty Barnes was a rookie of the year last year. And then you got Will Barton and Gary Trent Jr. that had some playoff experience with Denver and Portland, respectively. I think that's the. I like the star power for the Bulls, but then I look at the rest of their team and I'm like, I'm just going to play. The playoffs change. I'm going to go with the Raptors, and maybe I'm just doing it just to spite you, just to say like, yeah, despite all the Bulls talk and the Caruso fanboying, you're still going to be an
You're
afterthought.
literally wearing a Bulls jersey and you're going to pick the
I'm wearing
Raptors over the
wearing
Bulls.
a Jordan jersey.
You're
My
wearing a
gosh,
Bulls jersey, bro.
it's so
Like,
different. It's so different.
oh, it's so different. You're wearing a Chicago Bulls jersey and you just picked the Raptors. The
Yes,
city of
that's
Chicago
right.
hates you forever, man. I
Yeah.
wouldn't step foot in Chicago for a while. You're going to be a wanted man out there.
Oh, I've never been, and I don't think I expect to be going anytime soon. We're not going to talk about their city right now.
All
This
right.
isn't a political show. Um,
Regardless, bro, you're killing me. All right. So let's say in either scenario, we have the Miami Heat staying in the 7th seed. I think both of us were on the same page. The Miami Heat are out. So the next playing match would be a matchup with the Atlanta Hawks. Personally, I don't think it matters who plays the Hawks, whether it's the Raptors or the Bulls. I think the Hawks end up handling this anyways. I think
okay.
the Hawks will handle it better than Ulrich handles his internet connection. So, yeah,
I can't even tell if I'm on or not. Am I on?
you're on
Okay,
right now
good.
because you keep leaving me in the middle, so I just got to carry the show on my back right now. But it's all good. They call me AD for a reason.
Oh man, you're high on yourself. You leave you for 2 weeks, and you're all of a sudden a superstar. Well, I guess when you have 3 shows or something, that's what you get. Anyways, okay, so the Hawks are going to win. What else? Do we go? Do we continue on with the play-ins onto playing the Milwaukee Bucks? I think it's or do we go on to the play-ins for the Western Conference now?
No. Let me guide you on this journey, my friend. Don't You're so antsy right now. All right. So we've essentially we'll play out the scenario where the Heat are the 7th seed, the Hawks are the 8th seed, and then all the other positions are as you see. I want to start first at another locked in, confirmed matchup at least that we're going to have, which is the 4 and the 5 seed. And we're talking about the home court advantage for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knickerbockers. Um, I think, frankly, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but the Cleveland Cavaliers are, and just this top four, in my opinion, is a different caliber of team than the bottom four. And I'm willing to start putting some respect on the Cavs, not just because they closed the gap standing wise to the 76ers, but just because this is a deep, good, young team. And like I personally, and this is what I kind of wanted to allude to, I don't think any of these first round matchups matter in the East because I think all the 1 through the 4 seed win, regardless of who they play. And as much as I love Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, the only shot they were going to have is if they played the Doc Rivers, Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. I like I'm sorry, but I think short of Jaylen Brown, who's like out because he cut his hand picking up broken glass, uh, short of the Celtics being out Jaylen Brown and that having a far greater impact on them, and somehow in the playoffs, that's when the Heat decide like, oh, let's play like real intense basketball. I don't see anything changing from this top four of the Eastern Conference. Now I present the question to you. Do we want to continue to speculate out on the East, or should we flip flop a little bit and go over back to the West and play this out in the West?
Like I said, unless the Cleveland, the Cavs and the Knicks are going to be the tightest matchup, and it will probably be the one series worth watching or even betting on. But yeah, I agree with you, man. There's not enough parity to have a discussion.
I think if the Knicks push it to 6 games, then they did more than I expected. I think the Knicks should. I mean, the Knicks will lose in 5, though. I genuinely believe that. I think the Cavs are just too good. Like that, they
Now,
are a different class of team.
that's why I do think that the Cavs have the potential of upsetting any one of those teams above them. Whereas I don't think that the 76ers have what it takes to beat the Bucks, maybe the Celtics. But yeah, I see the Cavs as, yeah, it's like, oh, we didn't see this coming. But when we talk about their defensive and offensive ratings, both of them in the top 10, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Those are the indicators of a potential championship team. And even their team last year before Donovan Mitchell, you kind of wanted them to win the playoffs, the play-in game, the play-in tournament, because they had these 7-footers. Lauri Markkanen was obviously a star buddy, and now he's an all-star with Utah. They're just a good team last year, and they matured as you would expect them to. I only see them getting better. I expect them to be especially with the conversation that you've had about Jaylen Brown not necessarily sticking around with the Celtics that much longer. Philadelphia, how long is James Harden going to perform at his level? I can see the Cleveland Cavaliers as a 2 seed, if not a 1 seed, a hungry 1 seed, where Milwaukee kind of like, yeah, been there, done that. We're okay getting into the playoffs as a 3 seed. I can see the Cleveland Cavs being the best team in the Eastern Conference in the regular season, sort of how Denver carries the Western Conference now.
I would argue that the only reason that Denver carries the Western Conference is because all the other teams had to deal with some major injury at one point or another this season. And I think if you had parity as far as NBA health was concerned, I don't think the Nuggets are the 1 seed. Frankly, I think they're starting to get exposed a little bit post All-Star break. Their record has not been very good. A lot of the teams have closed the gap on them as far as win-loss is concerned, and I think a lot of teams filled holes that they had, and I think the Nuggets are, and if you look at the overall standings as well, I think the Nuggets are third, or they might actually even they're like tied for third with the 76ers, and the 76ers are the 3 seed. So, but I'm getting ahead of myself. To your point, yeah, I don't want to necessarily go too far into next season. I do think that the Cavs have a really good chance, though, of upsetting the Bucks in the second round. That'll be really interesting to see. I think what'll be more fascinating, though, is that Celtics 76ers matchup, because Joel Embiid that's one bad man. And, Jason Tatum can go off, Jaylen Brown can go off. My bias aside, I don't see them, and them being the Celtics, having an answer for Joel Embiid. And I think if Joel can just stay locked in, they will handle the Celtics, and it'll be them playing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Joel is a walking mismatch, and the catch is that they got more than just Joel to deal with. Like, Harden's still leading the league in assists. Maxey and Tobias Harris are role players that any team would want. Yeah, the 76ers aren't a throwaway. They're the type of team that you would say, if they get upset, you would say, yeah, I expected that because Harden came in fat or came in timid, whatever. But yeah, I think that's why I said I think that the Sixers can catch the Celtics sleeping. I'm not sure about the Bucks, but I think I would love to see a Sixers Cavaliers Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that both teams are hungry enough when you consider the tenacity of Mitchell and the urgency of Embiid. I think that would be a perfect situation to see those two teams square up. Whereas you see the Bucks and the Celtics have inklings of either satisfaction or rumblings of lack of chemistry with the Bucks and Celtics respectively.
I can allow that. I could see that sort of transpiring. I think frankly all 4 of these Eastern Conference teams are vulnerable in the wrong matchup, and I think what's interesting to me, for example, is if it's Celtics Bucks, I think that's a tougher matchup for the Celtics. But if the Celtics can match up with the Cavs, I think that's an easier matchup for them. I think on the other side of that for the 76ers, Giannis can actually shut down, I think, Joel, and I think you're going to run into trouble with them with the Bucks. But again, if they match up with the Cavs, I think, you know, short of Donovan Mitchell really turning out into something for the Eastern Conference Finals, like again, I just don't think that the Cavs big men are going to be able to slow down Joel. Um,
But I think the Cavs big men can give Giannis problems because he
I
gets by
agree.
one, he gets by Mobley, and Jared Allen is there, and and that's the scary part that I've been talking about for a while. So I'm looking forward to that second round matchup with the Cavs and Bucks because I expect Giannis to struggle.
You know what? Frankly, I agree with that. And as we're talking this out, I'm going to change my take because if they are going to give Giannis problems, because you're right, they're a two-headed monster and they're able to play two-headed bigs in a way that honestly, like I'll give them props. Like you haven't really seen this work this effectively since like David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and I'm putting cart before the horse. And these are like two guys who played together one season, sure, but for a long time, a lot of NBA teams chase this twin tower philosophy, but
Samson and
no
Olajuwon, yeah.
no one came close to Timmy and David. Um, but
And
if
this
they're
is
going to
a
be
defensive oriented, while yours is offensive oriented.
right,
Robinson, even though Robinson can do everything, and Duncan could as well.
uh,
This is a defensive powerhouse, and they're long and they can guard on the perimeter, and that's so important in this 3-point line spread the floor era.
right. So, but I guess the point I was trying to get to was the fact that and I agree with you that they're going to be able to cover the perimeter and lock down outside, and they're going to give Giannis a lot of problems. But if they can do that to Giannis, they could probably do that to Joel too. So I actually then think I retract my statement and I say, you know what? I don't think it matters who the 76ers play in the second round or in the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe if James Harden could show up and Chris Middleton like, you know, struggles, they can get through the Bucks. But as we talk this out, I think actually the Cavs have a better shot of getting around the 76ers than I think. I think honestly they could probably handle the Celtics.
It's a the 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 Eastern Conference semifinals and the Eastern Conference Finals will be fun to play out.
Honestly, so, as I'm thinking this, like the Celtics Cavs would be such a fun Eastern Conference Finals because the perimeter defenders on the Celtics against Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, that would be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
That would actually be so fun.
Yeah, and then when you think about the offensive efficiency with Boston versus the defensive efficiency with the Cavs, how does that factor in? The Cavs play a very, very slow pace. I mean, I think they're averaging the least amount of points out of all playoff teams per game, and they also give up the least as well. So how does that? Can the Celtics, play that slow half court ball that's going to be forced upon them? In my opinion, yes, but how? Just because they can play it, can they play it good enough to beat a team that's an expert at it? It's so interesting, and I think honestly, the top four of the East. We've always talked about how the West is so stacked. West is so stacked. Um, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think that the East has a better top four than the West has a top four. I think the West has a better middle ground than the East. But when you look at those top four teams and you look at the West top four teams, it's like there's no comparison. Now,
So
of course, I know
I
what you're gonna say. Go.
I disagree from the aspect of I think you're looking at it strictly from like a wins loss
Right.
perspective.
Because the teams that were hurt and they're gonna be.
there,
building up
that,
right
but then
now.
also again, like we kind of talked about this at the beginning, like you play the other conference only 30 times.
Mm-hmm.
So the Western Conference only plays the Eastern Conference teams 30 times. So the Eastern Conference teams play each other 52 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then they only play the West 30 times. So because of that, you see a tighter clumping. So I think what's actually scary is, and I'm not trying to shit on the Kings, nor will I. Like, you got to put respect on the name. They're a division champ. They're a top 3 seed in the West. I'll include them in this, but genuinely, like the Grizzlies are nice. Nuggets are great. Kings, like great run during this regular season. Let's see what they got in the playoffs. I'm willing to watch them. I want my Lakers to match up with them, but all viable and have a valid reason to be a champion contender. But then let's go beyond that. Suns. Honestly, I catapult them as far as a potential champion above all 3 of those teams. But now you keep going. Clippers, you talk like short of Paul George coming back, very good. Warriors look like a shell of themselves. Lakers, like, look, my fanhood aside, like they haven't shown up. They haven't shown up. They have not shown me a cohesive, this is a championship team when we're all healthy. They've showed me glimpses of it in patches, some players here or there throughout this run to move up, and it's been impressive. But you got all the puzzle pieces. They haven't looked the part. If the Clippers or the Lakers started looking the part, if the Warriors were looking the part, I would say something different. I would say, like, you're looking at 7 teams that are playoff contenders, but are championship
Playoff
contenders.
playoff contenders. I agree with you, but playoff. Now I want to say juggernauts because none of these teams have any history behind them, except for the Bucks and Celtics. But when you look at the way these teams are put together, the top 4 teams in the East, everything, they're all built and they have been built for the whole season, ready to win. The Western Conference, all these middle teams that are, they're beating up on each other, but they have been putting their pieces together as we've gone along. The top 4 teams, they haven't changed. Some of them for the last, year or two, adding pieces here or there. So I guess what I'm saying is I look at the top 4 teams in the East and they have familiarity. You know what you're going to get, and it's scary. Phoenix Suns, yeah, they added Kevin Durant. What does that do? Of course, it makes them better. How much better? We
They're the
haven't
best team
seen.
in
We
the
don't have any
Western
history.
Conference. They're the best team in the Western
They're the
Conference now.
best team in the Western Conference. I think they're losing in the second round. So
I think the Denver Nuggets are getting sent home in the second round, or quite honestly, and I, I want to be sort of follow a similar organized structure when we get to the Western Conference. So once you feel do you feel good on the East? Is there anything else? All right, so let's play a
let's go.
similar game that we did on the East. So we're gonna start with this flip flop of the 7 seed playing against the 8 seed Pelicans. Like, truthfully, and I say this again because at the time of this recording, like, technically things could change all the way from the 5 down to the 8 seed. I don't think the Timberwolves might be able to move up to like the 7-8, and then things could get spicy. But why don't we rank between the Warriors, Lakers, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Thunder, those 5 teams? Give me, 3 teams in order of 6, and then winner of play-in, runner-up of play-in. What is your anticipated end of season?
Here, my thing is the Warrior. I'm looking at the Warriors right now. Andrew Wiggins came back. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew Wiggins comes back. He's rusty. I feel like any time he's playing right now, could be a little inefficient. I think the Lakers win a Pelicans matchup in a 7-8. I think the Warriors lose a matchup in the 7 and 8. So it's kind of like this little two worlds here. Let's just say that I'm talking about the Warriors because yeah, I'm going to play Laker fan for a minute. The Warriors face the Pelicans and lose. Let's go with your thing. Lakers are the best out of all these 6 through 10. The Pelicans are the second best. I think the Warriors are the third best. I don't think Oklahoma City is not there. They just have one guy and a bunch of role players. So I would say it would go by Lakers, Warriors, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Thunder.
So you essentially say the way it's seated, right?
I'm sorry.
No.
Lakers, Pelicans, Warriors. Yeah, Timberwolves, Thunder.
Okay. So
The Warriors need to
if the
stay in their
Warriors
position, or they could risk losing out on in the playoffs.
I see what you're saying. I don't disagree. I think the thing that would have to happen for me to see that scenario play out is Zion would have to come back and would have to come back like healthy and monstrous.
They're playing they're 8-2 right now in the last 10 games.
I know, but you're going to San Francisco because the Warriors are presumably gonna, at least if they fall in, they're gonna get the 7 seed. So they would have home court advantage for both playing games, mind you.
Right.
I have a hard time, I think, believing that the Pelicans without Zion are going to be able to go to Golden State and take the playoff seed away from Steph Curry's hands in his own home court. Like LeBron did it, but he did it on his own home court back in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot the home court advantage for the Warriors. It's like night and day. Playoff series is different, but
again, it's one game. Anything can happen, but
no, 33-8. I'm no fool. I'm not betting against that. So I can hold that back. It's pretty, if the Warriors are in the play-ins, it's pretty much an easy, as long as they don't get to the 8 seed, it's pretty much an easy win for them. That's how I see it. The Lakers win as a set. The Lakers beat all these teams in the play-ins. We've analyzed them so much. We've been watching every time they play the Pelicans, Timberwolves, Thunder. They generally win out. Maybe one game here or there. You just have to hope that one game isn't in the play-ins. The Timberwolves are definitely, all these teams are beating the Thunder. I think the Timberwolves could, because the Timberwolves are full staffed and the Pelicans are not. I think that when we look at the home court and home court advantage from a record perspective, they're kind of no one really stands out. I can see the Timberwolves beating the Pelicans if they have to play each other. But yeah, it looks like it's the Lakers, Warriors in the playoffs, and then the Pelicans and I would give the edge to the Timberwolves. I would say the Timberwolves went out just because that Zion missing is going to. I think teams are going. The team needs to feel that, and I think they are going to feel that because Karl-Anthony Towns is back, and you need your star players to come perform when the chips are on the line.
Do you think any of these teams, of these 5, who gives the Nuggets the hardest time in the first round?
And of all these 5 teams, like I said before, I think the Lakers, when we talk, in my opinion, we've seen that the Warriors have really big problems with teams that have ball dominant big man. Like I would say the Warriors would have an issue with Sabonis. I would say the Warriors would have issues with Jokic. I would say the Lakers would not. I would say the Pelicans would not. Anyone that has a body to throw at the Jonas Valanciunas, Anthony Davis, uh, Rudy Gobert, and Carl Anthony Towns, I'd say any of those teams could give the Nuggets problems because they have someone big and athletic to stick on Jokic, and that's really what it boils down to. Because Jokic is the centerpiece of everything the Nuggets do. Yeah, they have Jamal Murray, but when you think about it, he's never been an All Star. He's a very good supporting cast player. Borderline All Star, but so was Tobias Harris for a long, long time. So is James Harden right now. It's not what we talk about. How do you stop the MVP? They have a very good team, but if you can give Jokic not his 24, 10, and 10 by your big man coming to play, and the Timberwolves, the Lakers, and the Pelicans all have big, well-known defensive fours and fives that can stick onto Jokic and give him problems, and that may be enough to win a few games. Not, they still may lose in 6 or 7. But like you said, you've always hinted at Denver being a shadow champion, regular season champion, and you're not the only one who said that. ESP, that's the mainstream talking that way as well. Multiple MVPs and never gotten out and did they make it to the conference finals? I forgot, but they are
They
a
did in the
regular
bubble.
season. Say what?
They made it to the conference
Yeah,
finals.
they're a regular season juggernaut, but maybe that just means that teams figure out how to stop a big man that is the centerpiece of the team, and you kind of have to have something that's a little more dynamic, and that's why the Warriors win. That's why the Lakers have won in the past. That's why Phoenix is always in the conversation. So yeah, I think a lot of these teams can give the Nuggets problems, but then you have to go down the line through who the second and third and fourth option. Now you start getting to Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and they're all borderline all stars at least at one point or another in their career. And you have to hope that all the other teams are stacked enough to face up against them because rotation strength, more touches for the 2, 3, 4 options, and less touches for the 8 and 9. And you got to make sure you stack up well against them. And the Nuggets have a good solid first 7, and we can't take that from them.
I'm not trying to, pick on them or diminish their accomplishment. I kind of agree with your assessment though that, if I'm the Nuggets, I want the Warriors. I want the Warriors to drop down to me because I don't think they have an answer for Jokic. I think similarly, though, teams like the Timberwolves and teams like the Lakers pose a serious threat to at least the Nuggets. They may only push it in the Timberwolves aspect to like 6 or 7 games. And same with the Lakers, they may only push them to 6 or 7 games and end up losing ultimately. But, I do think that they are exposed in a matchup where you, in the first round of the playoffs, you kind of want to breeze through that. That said, we've seen champions go 7 games in the first round in their first round matchup and still go on to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So anything can happen. As a Lakers fan, personally, I'd rather match up to the Kings. I don't mind matching up to the Grizzlies, frankly. I think we actually won the season series, or we might just split it evenly with them. But at least with the Nuggets and the Kings, I just don't see them having an answer for we have upgraded our perimeter defense enough for me to feel confident that we could actually handle their faster guards. Whereas at the beginning of the season, I would have been more afraid of these teams with, really, really strong point guard play. John Morant as well. You got to include him. I'm assuming come playoff time, like you're not going to bench your best player. But who knows? Anything can happen.
I
But
just don't.
let's
I don't see the Grizzlies being that team yet. I do. I see them getting upset by the Lakers. I see them getting beaten by the Warriors. It's just so weird. But again, maybe it's just a matter of me not watching them enough. They have a great home record. They're going to have home court advantage during most of the playoffs. John Morant is dynamic, but then we start getting into the playoffs, gets a little bit more tight on the defensive side. And when I'm looking at, what do they have the 3-point shooting that you need? Desmond Bain is a great 3-point shooter. Are we going to bring Luke Kennard in to play more so he can spread the floor out?
no. Kevin Durant is back. Like the Phoenix Suns
No,
are.
no. I was talking about the Grizzlies.
Oh, sorry.
Because like Desmond Bain shoots 40% from the 3-point line, and he's averaging 21 points a game. But Luke Kennard was traded to them from the Clippers, I believe, and he's shooting 53%. But I don't think he touches floor a lot. Is he going to be one of those guys that is a playoff wild card or a playoff trump card? And all of
You
a
might
sudden,
see players like that like play a little bit. I think though
yeah.
ultimately we're just you're gonna start seeing that lineup shrink down. Starters are gonna get more minutes, and Ulrich is gonna leave me yet again. But on the topic of the Grizzlies, I think they actually on the other side of it do scare me. A young, hungry team that's proven itself in the regular season, and they've proven themselves without their quote unquote best player. Like that's a dangerous team gaining a lot of confidence. Like, I think honestly, a Lakers Grizzlies first round matchup will be so spicy. Those teams were drawing at one another when they played each other in the regular season. They're going to be drawing at each other, down each other's throats if they're playing a full 7-game series. So that could get real testy and real interesting. But we shall see. I don't want to necessarily, spend too much time speculating on matchups that we don't know. Like you're killing me, bro.
I'm connected. I don't know what it is, man.
You keep leaving me.
I'm
So,
sorry. I'm sorry. I left you for too long.
all right. Let's the one matchup I do want to discuss because I don't anticipate things necessarily changing, but they might or actually they might, like who knows, Golden State might end up with the 5 seed and we
Yeah.
disrespected them. So I don't want to necessarily speculate too much. I do just want to, throw the question out and I'll give you my answer of any of these teams playoff bound. Give me your top 2 or top 3 potential for making it to the finals. And I'll go first. And I'm just going to give you one because I'm going to give you the Western Conference champions, the Phoenix Suns. This team is proven their new trio is you can't keep up with them scoring wise. I don't think any team is built to keep up with them scoring wise, which is truly scary. And I think this team will get it done in the playoffs. I don't see any team, the Lakers included. I don't see the Lakers. They might challenge them, they might push it, but I think KD versus LeBron. Like I'm taking KD in that matchup, man. So short of AD coming out with just crazy, and I mean like a level of AD we've yet to see. I don't see us outscoring Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Like those are two of the wettest shooters in the NBA. There's no duo in the West that I think scoring wise, except for maybe the early Splash Brothers. But as you brought up, and as he's proven, Clay has become a shell of himself. Yeah, I don't know.
Who's the other two?
No, I said I was only giving you one because I think they will be the Western Conference champions.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I honestly think it's a combination of Denver, Phoenix, and the Lakers. I do think that Phoenix. I agree. Phoenix is well equipped with the scoring that they need. I do think that given the right matchup, that they could expose a bad point guard position. And as great of shooters that Booker and Durant are, and they can create for themselves, it gets harder and harder to create for yourself in the playoffs, and you're going to need that reliable point guard position to get you the ball where you need to be. And I think that Chris Paul is. I don't trust him, as he's not going to have the same magic in this playoffs as he has in the past. I think that the Lakers have the good combination of youth and veteran leadership. It's just a matter of health and a matter of urgency. You say if Anthony Davis goes off, he has been going off for the last 3 weeks and carrying this team while LeBron was out, and we all thought that it was over because he twisted his ankle or hurt his foot. I do believe that Denver, despite all their inability to put it all together in the playoffs in the past, I do think that we will see them uh, in the Western Conference Finals if they don't face off against Phoenix or LA. If they face off against Phoenix or LA, one of those teams could upset them. If they don't face off against either one of those teams, I do believe we will see them in the Western Conference Finals, and then from there, it's any man's game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, Look, I'll support the Lakers being in that top three. What would be honestly a shame is if you get like Lakers Nuggets in the first round, and then winner of that versus the Suns in the second round, and then you kind of had those.
Cannibalizing.
Yeah, it's like then the Western Conference Finals matchup is like poo poo a little bit.
Yeah,
And I'm never a fan of a team on one conference, sweeping and then the other conference going 6 or 7 because you lose that momentum and
right.
that's tough to regain. So that would be obnoxious. But um, let's flip over to award stuff because by the time we're talking next week, we'll have played the play-ins, so we'll have a clear playoff picture as well.
Sure.
Let's start with defensive player of the year. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go ahead and go first. I think that this is the defensive player of the year is sort of weird. I think it because defense is so subjective, based on how we view who is the guy, who is the stopper. He has to, last year Marcus Smart was looking at his stats. They didn't really stand out he didn't produce on a statistical standpoint, but when his team was winning, he was placed on the other team's ace, and he noticeably made a difference. I'm not that type of person, and maybe that will cause me to be wrong of who they pick for defensive player of the year. But for this one, when he's leading the league in blocks, when he's on a team that's a top 4 record in the league, and he's an all-star, I think that Jaren Jackson has all the mainstream checkpoints and the analytical checkpoints to justify him being a likely pick. I believe that his defensive rating is really high. His defensive win share is really high. I think this is a pretty solid candidate, and centers tend to be an easier pick because if you are leading the league in blocks, it goes a long way. So yeah.
So I agree with you on like part of what you said. Like Jaren Jackson will be one of 2 finalists, and I'm gonna take the other side of the coin. Who had very similar statistics, but didn't lead the NBA in blocks, but also like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He actually did because he played 16 more games than Jaren Jackson. I'm talking
Mhm.
about Brooke Lopez. And
Yes, I like this. Keep
and
going.
so I genuinely think, and here I'm going to use your own statistic against you because you're absolutely right. Jaren Jackson's in the top 10 of defensive win shares for the season, but you know who's in the top five, actually, specifically in the 4 seed and above, probably yours and my MVP, Brooke Lopez with a 4 defensive win share coming in at the 4 seed. Jaren Jackson's 3.7. So like even the advanced analytics kind of say like there's a little bit of a nod to there. And you know what? I think it says a lot when you play almost a quarter, you play like 20% more games and you're still playing at that level, if not like a slight nudge. So for that reason, my nod actually goes to Brooke Lopez. And because like as we, you taught me last week that, the NBA, like statistical leaders is based on like the average and it's not totals, which I still find so ridiculous. Like I think there's something to playing more games that should be rewarded in today's NBA, especially, and especially when these two players, when you stack them up next to each other, they're so close. They really are that if there's one thing I'm picking for the tiebreaker, it's games played, minutes played, and there's one who has so many more. So for that reason, you're dumb.
I just want to say no. For one, it's so funny. I'm not as dumb as you think because I did this homework and I was looking at these numbers for Brooke Lopez. I'm like, there's no way the guy who couldn't rebound to save his life 6 years ago and was a known kind of offensive only, and then when he changed himself, turned himself into a 3-point specialist and still couldn't rebound. Now he's a defensive, I don't want to say stat pattern, but he's he's an objective force on the defensive end. And I wanted to pick him. He's on the best team. He's on the team with the best record in the NBA. He has all the stats, but I feel when you told me, give me your picks, I'm putting my mainstream media hat on, and I'm like, it
No,
doesn't
fuck
go with
it.
the
Just
narrative.
make your picks.
It doesn't go with the narrative. Jaren Jackson is gonna
No,
win.
the Grizzlies are getting shadow banned too. It goes with the narrative, bro.
No, they're
Like,
picking a new Grizzly to highlight. What better way?
ooh, I don't hate that actually. I don't hate that. But defensive, no one gives a shit
I
about defensive
wasn't
player of the
born
year.
yesterday, man. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. But I do
Brooke
like your
Lopez is
pick.
gonna win.
You really think he's going to win? That's the
I think he's
good.
gonna win.
That's the analytical pick, but he's not going to win. But
I genuinely believe he's gonna win.
I hope he does. So right on. What's
All
next?
right. Let's do rookie, and I actually think this one, we
Do
can
you not
really
want to
pass
like
through.
go with the defensive team?
No, no, no. I want to
Rookie?
do
Okay,
teams last.
okay, that's fine. So the rookie of the
Um,
year. Go ahead.
Rookie of the year.
You
I think
first.
it's Paolo, and I think it's like a wide margin. I don't really think I was really overly impressed by any of these rookies. Paolo's the only one averaging 20 points a game. Magic didn't do a whole lot, but they're rebuilding. I think him and Markel Fultz will have some time together, but yeah.
I agree. I don't, no rookies really stood out, and the Magic, as much as you say they didn't do that much, they were a post pattern away from a playoff spot. So they have some good a good front line. Jonathan Isaac, who was injured, like they have so many good power forwards and big small forwards that you just think that in 2 years you'll be thinking, oh wow, like who they have to trade to to get some sort of all star and make Orlando great again. But you didn't like that one.
No.
Anyways, rookie of the year, Paolo. I think he was already a shoe in with the mainstream narrative. So
I was gonna honestly take you off camera and mute you for that one.
oh,
All right, let's hit now. I think the next three are actually very, very tight. I'll let you go first in the six, and if I agree with you, I'm still gonna bring up the other person that I think it's between, but I'll let you go first for sixth man of the year.
Shoot, you know what? I knew I forgot one. I forgot six man of the year.
All right. So
Go ahead and go.
my pick, and now by default, your pick as well, is going to be Malcolm Brogdon. And I hate giving any awards to a Celtic. However, this man, for one reason and one reason alone, genuinely, it's because he is number 4 in the NBA in 3-point field goal percentage. And when you have that clip coming off your bench and dropping over 14 points a game to boot, yeah, no, that's a type of player that elevates your team and is a layer of depth that very few teams are afforded. The other option here is Emmanuel Quickly of the New York Knicks. However, I just don't think that Quickly had been impressing as of late. But I think ultimately, like over the course of the whole season, Malcolm Brogdon has really proven. And look, Brogdon's been a starter. He was a starter at Indiana.
Right.
Like he is a starter caliber player in the NBA, but he took a different role with the Celtics team, due in large part because I think this is a championship contender, and he is playing the role, and he is going to be very dangerous. He's going to play key minutes in the finals. No, just NBA playoffs. But I have a hard time ignoring his presence on the court.
Yeah, so I knew I had someone in my mind. Thinking about this 2 weeks
It's
ago.
okay. You can
Honestly,
copy my answer.
no, honestly, I always thought it was going to be Jordan Poole. I don't think he doesn't start, and he started a little more than half the games, but I don't know. I forget what the rules are for how many games you're allowed
We'll
to
play
start.
80. I don't know how many games he started.
He's played 80. He started 43.
He started too many.
He started too many. Okay, if that's the case, then yeah, I don't know what to say, but like I've always thought, because you have Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Jordan Poole's like the third guard, and he's not even starting. Even when Curry is out, they have what's his name, DiVincenzo starting. I just feel like Jordan Poole is the obvious sixth man of the year here. I think he's averaging 20.5 points a game, but he may have lost. He may have become ineligible. So
Yeah.
I like your pick. Malcolm Brogdon came in, with that role, and he's done it well. And he's a big reason why the Celtics are where they are.
So let's go over now to most improved player. Did you actually do the assignment this time, or do you need to copy my answer again?
Yes, sir. I'm going to go ahead and go first. I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the obvious choice here. All he's done is improve every single season. He went from 24 points last year, and just when you think you can't get much better, he's up to 31 points a game. He is the star on that team. He is the reason that he's basically has replaced Russell Westbrook in terms of just production and usage. In my opinion, he's going to be an all-star starter one day. He's got a nasty mid-range game. If anyone else got most improved, I would be surprised.
So I'm going to bring up a player who's also in the running, and then I'm going to bring up a player who I've not seen in the running, and quite frankly, it surprises me. So the other player in the running is, oh my god, Lauri Markkanen. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a very valid name.
Yeah.
But frankly, I'm going to go completely off script. And my pick for the most improved player of the NBA this season is actually Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings. And I'm going to tell you why. You want to look at me all skeptical?
No. I'm looking at his numbers. Go ahead.
So Shy, number 5 in the NBA in win shares. Absolutely, man. Crushed it. And for a guard, that's insane because these statistics absolutely favor big men. And he had an 11.4. Now, center, Domantas Sabonis, 12 and a half. He has a whole win share higher. And on top of that, I'm talking about your NBA 2022-2023 rebounding champion, Domantas Sabonis, and leader of the Pacific Division champion Sacramento Kings. Look, he's not the guy who's sort of showing up dropping dropping players, going crazy. He doesn't have as high a PER either, but I think that's irrelevant. I don't think the offense is really flowing through him necessarily. But I think as far as impact and significance in improving a team, Domantas Sabonis, I think, is getting slept on for this award. That's personally my pick. I think Shy will win it though. So I don't hate that pick.
I can't imagine why you. I mean, looking at his stats, he's been doing these numbers for 4 years now, 5 years. I mean, back in Indiana, 4 years. Back in Indiana, he was averaging 18 and a half and 12 with 5 assists. This year, he's averaging 19, 12, and 7. Now, maybe his team is most.
Oh, you suck, bro. I see what he's saying though. Like if you take Sabonis's actual like statistics, his statistics haven't significantly improved, but I disagree. All right, I'm gonna give him like 10 seconds, and if he doesn't come back, I am out a 5,000. But also, I guess fine. Oh, I get what he's saying though. You're
Jeez.
killing me,
This
bro.
is not me, man. This is this is Restream, bro.
I don't know what you did or what computer virus you brought back from Russia. Goodness.
Did you
I'm
get a chance to answer my question about
I
how his
I
games weren't?
I see what you're saying. I looked deeper into his statistics, and you are right that like his statistical averages actually haven't significantly improved, but his like win share, because probably they just don't have another
Because
big. So
his team is winning more, so his stats contribute more to and this is why win share is important to show who is great. But in terms of like what his production was for his team, something else happened so his team can win. Technically, he was doing the same stuff. But I like Sabonis, but I save him for another role, for another
all right, all
accolade
right,
here.
all right, fair. So then I'll count then. Like I pretty much, while you were gallivanting across the interweb and leaving me hanging, I seeded, and I even said like Shy I think will end up winning,
Yeah,
so I'll
yeah.
agree with that. um I believe, drum roll please.
Hold on, no, 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 no. Do we talk about Coach of the Year or not?
Oh,
Do you care? It's Mike Brown.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, do we have to?
Okay, drum roll. Go ahead.
Your 2022-2023 NBA MVP. There is one answer and one answer only. So whatever Ulrich says in the count of three doesn't really matter. Whatever I say is the correct answer. So if he fucks this up, that's on him, not me. 1, 2, 3, Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
Oh
Now, here's a question: did he win the MVP when he put up like 53 points while I was like gallivanting through Florence and Rome?
no, because he literally lost the night after that, and I laughed so hard at that take. Like literally, as that take was like, it was like wet paint drying on the wall, and then it was like a little
They
kid
gotta
just came and
stop.
smeared it. It was like, nope,
They gotta
nope.
stop doing that. See, this is a problem with the mainstream. They try to form a narrative around a single event. This is a body of work. Joel Embiid is a walking mismatch. He can shoot threes. Here's the catch. Like, yeah, Jokic may get the more stats and more win shares, but Joel pulls things to him so that the rest of his team can prosper. And because he's just a risk, he's a nonstop risk. And it's like that jump shot right in the middle. And I saw him getting fed from Harden on a pick and roll, and him pulling up on the 16-footer nonstop, and it's automatic. He can shoot from anywhere. He can post up. He can play defense. That team is that team without him. They would probably be more of a reason to mock Doc Rivers. But luckily for them, they have Joel Embiid, and finally, I think he should be getting the MVP. He probably deserves, and get it before it's too late, because you never know. Harden may blow up. Maxi may go somewhere else, and then all of a sudden you lose your opportunity. For the sake of these elite writers that try to control the NBA narrative, give him a trophy before it's too late.
All right. I think he will end up winning as well. I don't think it's really it's nothing.
Tight.
I think it's splitting hairs, and I think there's a little bit of almost like how Leo won the Academy Award for The Revenant, the movie where he had like no lines, versus Wolf of Wall Street, for example, a movie where he had like countless lines and carried a film. So I think there's a little bit of that's going to happen, but I'm also like totally fine with it. My line for Jokic that I established about a month ago was, you need to average a triple double to get that third straight MVP, and he is not going to accomplish that. He's going to come very close. He's going to end up with like 9.8, 9.9 assists a game. Like that's not insignificant. I don't want to knock that. And frankly, I think that if he had not been given the MVP last year, and if Joel had actually been given the MVP last year, I think it's like, to your point, it's so close that you can then have a stronger case. But going back to, I think, what you preluded to, this idea of Jokic becoming a player with 3 straight MVPs,
Russell,
you just start to like, oh, is this his era? It's like, no, I think there's so much parity in this era that it makes basketball so fun to watch. But I also think that you're doing an injustice to misrepresent this period, frankly, in the same way that you voters misrepresented the mid 2000s by giving Steve Nash back-to-back MVPs. Like,
correct.
Respect, maybe one, and honestly, I don't even think that.
Sean Marion was always the best player on that team.
No, Mari Stoudemire.
Oh yeah, Mari left for a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're just thinking of the NBA Live like ratings right now.
But no, Mari.
It was definitely Amari.
No, that's right. I take that back. I forgot Amari was there. Yeah, Amari.
Sean Marion just had a high rating because he had a high defensive rating, could shoot from the perimeter, and could dunk really well. So he's like an NBA.
Why do people think that Sean Marion could not shoot? I remember he was lighting up.
He had a weird shot. He has a weird shot, but it goes in. It's so annoying that it goes in.
I'm like, I look at NBA Twitter, and people are making fun of Sean Marion's jump shot. I'm like, this dude made NBA everything.
Champion Sean Marion.
Huh?
NBA champion Sean Marion.
Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was watching some Jason Kidd highlights, dude. Sean Marion, and Dallas is like the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
Sean Marion was slamming it on young fools.
Sean Marion is in my list of greatest of all time. I believe I have him at 60. Very consistent. Yeah. He's always producing, because remember, I based mine on win shares. He had a lot of contribution because of his ability to play defensive win shares, could rebound. It was a very technical injection, but he is always, and his teams were always deep in the playoffs. So yeah, it surprised me as well, but he is a very good player. Looking at his stats, I'm like, wow, he put up numbers. But anyways.
All right, let's get into these. Let's start with the all defensive team. I think personally the easiest way that I would like to do this would probably be either let's just go for first team and then second team.
You want me to say both of mine, or you want to say you want to start
I
off?
was going to start with my first team, and then
Go
you
ahead.
can do your first team.
Go ahead and start
So
off.
first team All NBA. I'm going Brooke Lopez and oh my God, Jaren Jackson Jr. Easy guys to sort of put in there. But then I'm gonna put as the final big. I'm actually gonna put Jokic. I'm gonna give him the nod there, and then for the guards, I'm gonna have Donovan Mitchell, and I'm actually gonna put my dog, Alex Caruso.
Alex Caruso. Okay. All right. My first team. Uh, those two bigs were the same, Jackson and Lopez. Um, my other forward is Jimmy Butler. My two guards are Caruso and Ananobi. I believe Ananobi is leading the league in
I
steals
want to
for their
change
team.
Mitchell. Yeah, I
Oh,
change
that's
Mitchell.
fine. You're
I need a copy
you're
of
for,
your homework
you're
assignment.
forgiven, my child. It's like someone wasn't doing their homework. Okay.
I was like, that's why I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right.
I'm like, okay. But no, that's so you put basically three centers. Oh, Jackson's a power forward. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but I just do the three bigs. I cheated a little bit, I know, but
I understand Jokic has a lot of contribution on the defensive end. I just
because
look at him, I'm like,
isn't it
he's not
three
stopping
perimeters
anyone.
actually?
Huh?
Isn't it supposed to be three perimeter and two post players?
I thought it was supposed to be three forwards and two guards.
If it's three forwards, then I'm fine doing three centers because I would
Yeah,
argue that
that's fine. Yeah, go
multiple
ahead.
of them. So, all right, my only switch then is OG for um,
So
Mitchell,
we were very similar, except for I put Jimmy Butler and you put Jokic.
Jokic. All
All
right,
right,
do you want to go with your second team?
I'll do my second team. I have Evan Mobley.
Mhm.
I have
Same,
Giannis.
same.
I have Jason Tatum. I have D'Anthony Melton, and I have Shea Gilgeous Alexander.
Ooh.
I had a rationale for each one. I think I don't want to take up so much time on this,
I
but
don't want to. Yeah, honestly, like I'm just gonna run through this because this is the second team, and I don't
go
really
ahead.
care
Yeah.
about second team All NBA.
Hmm.
I as well have Mobley, and I as well have. Actually, I have Jared Allen, and then Jason Tatum, and then on the guards, Donovan Mitchell, and then I actually put on my other guard. Um, I cheated and I put Jimmy Butler as a shooting guard.
Well, again, I think he can. It's weird because like I'm wondering. I thought I've seen him listed as a guard as well, and that's probably some sort of contractual thing. It's like based on how you're listed, you can fit into all NBAs and all defense in weird ways. So I don't consider that a cheat.
Also, I meant Giannis, not Tatum. I said Tatum, but I meant Giannis.
Okay, if there was a third team, I would have had Claxton in there and Jared Allen. But there's just
Fair.
not there's so many good big men that played well this year, and I just didn't know where to stick them. Giannis is a great defender. If Mobley, I could have switched him with Jared Allen. I just see them as one and the same. I think Mobley has slightly better stats. But yeah.
Let's go All NBA. I think the
All right.
first team is actually really easy. I think it's the trio that's in the hunt. The two we've talked about, Giannis on the bigs, and then I think it's Luca and Shy as the guards for All
Okay.
NBA first team.
I have Tatum instead of Shea Gilgis. So I'm surprised that
So
you
you
would
have
have.
Tatum as your forward on the all defensive team, and you have him down as a guard on the
Oh
all
my gosh! Well,
NBA
you see
team.
that? Okay, hold on, hold on. Okay, I messed up. So then, if that's the case, then I'm bumping Mitchell up as first team for Luca and Mitchell.
Okay.
Gosh, I messed up here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I got it. Yeah. Is Butler? Is Butler a guard?
I think if you used him, I think the rule should be if you use him as one position in one, you have to
Totally
use him in
agree.
the same.
And
So like
see,
I
they have.
use Butler as a guard in that, so I'm gonna end up using Butler
Let me
again.
see why I use Butler as. I
You
used
use
him
him as a forward.
as a forward. Okay, I'm good. Okay, so let me make sure I fix that. So I have a Mitchell there. Yeah. Okay. So I got Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, Luca, and Mitchell.
All right. You want to go for second team, or do you want me to?
Go ahead because I'm cleaning things up.
All right. So I got my guards. I went Donovan Mitchell at the 2, and then I went Jimmy Butler as well. And then for the bigs there, I actually went because AD should have, but he didn't qualify. Kevin Durant didn't qualify. LeBron James doesn't qualify. So you got to go down. Tatum gets the nod there. I actually put Sabonis here, and then where is he? All right, Jared Allen
Jared Allen. Did he?
for
Did
the
he?
final big,
Hmm.
because you gotta think there are a lot of these bigs that don't qualify.
Yeah. There's someone else. Okay, but that's your squad. Hold on. Okay, so my second team is Sabonis, Julius Randle, Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving, and Ja Morant. Ja Morant. Ja Morant. Been in Europe too long. Ja Morant.
You have Kyrie.
I have Kyrie Irving as the second team.
I don't think he's played enough games.
Yeah. It's Kyrie Irving, What? Wait, how many games do you have to play in? He's in 60. If you see him in the if you see him in the season leaders, he should have played enough. Let's see. Kyrie Irving is listed 8. John Morant
Okay,
is legal.
you need 58 games.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
John Morant and Kyrie Irving are both legal. They're at 60. Giannis only is 63. So
All right. I don't think. I don't think Kyrie's going to be an All NBA team this year. I have a hard time seeing that.
why he's 8th in scoring. He averages 27, 5, and 5. That's
No,
like what Tatum averaged last year.
no. I do think
No.
Jaw's a great pick though. Jaw's on my third team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Laurie, De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle.
Laurie, De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle. Okay. You didn't write these down before?
Mm-mm.
You're gonna miss someone, but
I definitely already missed him.
I'm gonna hang it over your head. It's okay. You're gonna miss a couple. Oh, you did not do your homework, host.
I don't know. All right, give me yours. I'm gonna copy.
Okay, here we go. So I'm almost certain Anthony Davis is eligible.
He is not.
He is.
He's
He's
only
not.
played 54 games, so if he plays both, he'll only play 56 and you need 58 to qualify.
Gosh. Okay, Mark Cannon. Hold on. There is someone else. Okay, Mark Cannon, Butler, Harden, and Lillard. Now, if I were to get that last big, I feel like my internet is about to die on me again because these. Oh
Demontes,
gosh,
you didn't put Sabonis on your second team. Put him on your third.
I did put him on my second. Sabonis, Randall, Tatum, Irving, and Morant. I may die on you. ESPN is not working.
All right, make it quick.
I don't know who the last
That's
big
what I'm
is.
saying, dude. That's what I'm fucking saying. Like the last
There,
big is like,
there
dude, is it Kristaps?
someone. Hold
Is
on.
it Clinton Capella?
No, hold on. There's someone. Let me find this right now. We're gonna figure out who's the third team forward. We're gonna go. Boom.
Pascal Siakam.
No. No. I mean, not to diss him. It's just their team was tragic. We got this. Player efficiency.
Evan Mobley.
And all these guys are so close to the border.
Oh, DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan is a forward.
Counts.
He can play.
Count it. I put him on my team too. Boom.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, that's a good one. I think he deserves that. So my last three is DeMar, Markkanen, Butler, Harden, and Lillard. I'm surprised you didn't have Harden. He leads the league in assists.
I hate James Harden.
You're crazy. You make a perfect writer. Look at you. Boycotting with the pen. Gosh, so bad. He's averaging 21 and 10.
I'm okay.
That's evil, man.
I'm good.
On the top 4 or 5 team in the league.
I still stand by the Miami Heat get the 6th seed and then they knock out the 76ers in the first round.
That's fine. Harden is still the league leader in assists per game.
Jokic is like 2 or 3 positions behind him. So like that tells you how much passing goes on in today's NBA right now.
Jokic is yeah, but what
the point I'm trying to make, dude, there are seasons where the assist leader is averaging 12, 14, 16 assists a game. And the fact that our assist leader is averaging 10 points a game is not a reflection of him being excellent. It's a reflection of the game changing drastically to me. So
the assists are more. Back in the day, it was Stockton with 15 assists, and then the next guy had 4 assists. So like nowadays, you have a couple of guys on the team with 5 assists a game. That's why Kyrie can't get a bunch of assists a game because he may get 5, but what's his name? Luka has 8, and then someone else on the team has a bunch. If you look at there's some team that's like, Golden State. Steph Curry, the Warriors are a perfect example. Do they not pass a lot? No. Wait, yes, they do. But guess what? You would never notice by their point guard because he only averages 5.5 assists a game because Draymond gets 7.5. And then Steph Curry gets 6. And then the backup point guard gets 5. So it's more diluted. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, Harden gets 10. You're looking for that 12. It's because everyone's sharing the ball better.
No, and see, this is actually why I think the 10 is a knock on Harden because there's more ball movement in today's NBA. A player who's averaging 20 and 10 tells me that he needs the ball way too much in order for you to actually have his full potential and maximize him on the court. So props to Doc Rivers though for like helping to channel that in a way for him to actually help his other teams. Because instead of averaging 30 points and 3 assists a game, you're looking at averaging 20 and 10, so you're scoring on at least 40 points per night. That's what you're contributing.
Are you telling me that you're saying that Harden used to be 30 and 3? He was
I know he had more than 3 assists.
Like he's always at like his career assists per game is 7. Like he's always been a good passer, but he's always been ball dominant. But his teams win because of him. Like, it's not like they were unsuccessful. They always made it to the playoffs. Now, were they a championship caliber?
But
no.
They never won anything.
Neither did Chris Paul's team. That didn't make him not great.
So you think Chris Paul is great? All right, we're going to end the episode right there after Ulric says that Chris Paul is great.
He's top 10 all time. I have it. I've written it down. It's going to be on my website whenever I get off my ass to launch it.
Yeah, man. When pigs fly, bro. Let's wind this down. Is there any final thoughts you've got on these awards? Any surprises? And what are you
I think the
doing
biggest
tonight?
surprise will be when they finally actually come out. I think we think generally the same way. That's why even when I say something, you say, "Oh yeah," and when you said something, I said, "Oh yeah." Like we have that same dynamic, but the writers think a whole different way, and we'll see what they come up with. They always have an agenda, but the defensive player of the year or all defensive team is a crapshoot because it's just a matter of who they were watching and who made them feel great. But they ain't looking at stats. Writers just want to be poetic about the game, and that's just stupid.
On that lovely note, this has been another episode of the Bitcoin Ballers. We hope we made it up for missing last week. We'll be back next week as we break down the first round matchups after the play-in tournament. Be
Michael
well,
Jordan.
stack sats.